Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the SmackDown review for the 29th of um January 2021. Not particularly a good edition of SmackDown, especially with the Royal Rumble being on Sunday. Without a doubt, this is. I've been a fan for 32 years. I was in the business for 12. This is the least excited I've been about a Rumble. I've seen every Rumble, and by far, this is just, it's abysmally bad. Anyway, SmackDown starts. Daniel Bryan's already in the ring. He is doing the yes chant thing, which feels like we're going back about 7 years. He welcomes everyone to SmackDown, and he's excited about the Rumble. He's accomplished a lot in his career, but never won a Rumble. He notes that winning the Rumble means being in the main event at WrestleMania. He's done it before and believes that he can do it again. Bryan doesn't know how many Rumbles he has left in his career. He says he's ready, thanks to Chad Gable and Otis training with him. He says his hips are loose and he's ready for the Rumble. AJ Styles' music hits and out he comes. He comes out with his bodyguard Almas, and Bryan notes that both brands are in the Rumble. Almas notes that this is the brand for brand invitational. It's been a while since anyone mentioned this concept, but they bring it back here. Styles makes fun of Bryan's suit, says he doesn't really look ready to compete in a Rumble. Bryan seems like a guy with one foot out the door. Styles wonders if he's the GM again. Please, let's not go back there. Actually, let's not go back to anything that's happened in the last 15 years of WWE. Anyway, Bryan challenges Styles to a match later tonight. This could be good. Styles notes he's getting ready for the Rumble by beating everyone on Raw. He accepts the challenge and shoves Bryan to the ground. Almost gets in Bryan's way. Bryan challenges him to leave his bodyguard in the back. It's fine, and honestly, they've got to do something with this Almost character pretty soon. I understand it's a Diesel remake. I get it. But the thing is, you have to get him in the ring and have him do something. Even if you give him the heart punch and it's a one-punch knockout. Even if you give him one kick. It doesn't matter what you do, but you got to do something. Because him just standing there and learning to talk, this does not belong on national television. Kayla Braxton briefly talks about the brand invitational. She then interviews Bayley. Bayley mocks Belair and mentioned that she injured her shoulder last week. She promises to defeat Belair next. Bayley and Belair do have a decent match next. Bayley has an early advantage. Belair hits a snap suplex, gets a near fall for it. She then regains control and hits a clothesline for a secondary near fall. Bayley works over the shoulder, yells at her, and basically tells her to quit. Belair fires back, hits a standing moonsault for a close near fall. Bayley gets her foot on the bottom rope. Back from break, Belair is in control and scores a near fall. Bayley reverses it again, goes after the arm, and hits almost a knockout knee to the jaw. Bayley hits the old Savage elbow, and then they go back and forth with pins for a minute. They fight over a backslide. Bayley hits a right, and Belair tries to go after Bayley. Her arm gives out. She can't pick her up. Bayley charges at her and ultimately hits the KOD for the win. Good win for Belair. Hopefully she wins the Rumble on Sunday. Honestly, I would completely support her winning the Rumble. Post-match, Kayla Braxton interviews Belair on the ramp. She puts Bayley over, but says that she's not her role model. Belair is overwhelmed because it's the biggest win of her career. She promises to win the Rumble Sunday night. If you're going to have somebody new win the Rumble, and I know people are hot on Rhea Ripley, I don't see it still. After all this time, and I realize they've heated her up and slowed her down and heated her up and slowed her down, But I've never seen Rhea Ripley as the person they should push completely. Now, Belair, especially when you're talking about a time when, especially in the States, racial issues are a big thing, and you could promote racial diversity from a PR standpoint and have a talented crossover star in your hands, bonus. This would be smart. Anyway, Cesaro approaches AJ Styles and Omos. King Corbin defeats Dominic Mysterio. This is a match that doesn't need to happen. Week by week, I honestly, I think, other than just guys that are rookies who, for example, on AEW don't belong because they're not ready yet, Corbin is, week by week, the person that does not belong, in my mind, on national television. Mysterio jumps Corbin from behind. He enters the match, beats him down for several minutes before the match even begins. Rey Mysterio joins Michael Cole and Graves on commentary. Corbin runs at Mysterio and they ring the bell. Mysterio fights back and sends him to the floor. Corbin regains control, back suplex. And basically, there's an acknowledgement that he's not getting his hands up to block nearly enough, and that bothers Rey. Corbin misses a charge in the corner. Rey takes over, and Mysterio tries the 619. Corbin catches him. Mysterio takes a really bad bump on a backdrop. Mysterio hits a DDT near a fall, and then he hits the end of the days for the win. Why, when you have a guy in Dominic Mysterio, the son of Rey Mysterio, the son of one of the most popular guys in the last 20 years, why do you kill him off? I understand long-term storytelling, we care. No. You need new stars. You've got this Peacock deal worth $1 billion. I understand you're fat and lazy, but if you really want new people to watch the product, now that you're going to go on an actual network like NBC, then you might, or partner with an actual network like NBC, then you might, if you have half a brain, desire to build new stars. And 20 years later, you haven't done jack rabbit about doing that. And they have the opportunity to do it, and they're not doing it. Post-match, Corbin tries to attack Rey at ringside. Rey fights back, sends him into the ring post. He follows with a senton off the apron. Big E speaking to Sonya. And then Miz and Morrison show up. DeVille knows Adam Pearce is off because of last week's chaos. Morrison notes he's about to make a ton of money on the stock market because he invested in GameStop. I guess that's a thing. I haven't followed the news. I've seen a couple headlines that there's some sort of thing going on there. Anyway, Big E ends up getting into an argument with Miz and Morrison and beats him down pretty well. They recap Sasha Banks and Reginald match from last week, which nobody cared about then. Nobody cares about it now. Reginald approached Banks in the hallway, gives her a bottle of wine. She flirts with him, and then she says this is the greatest wine for Carmella to drink with a broken jaw. She mocks Reginald, walks off, and they recap the Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns deal, which I hope they're blowing off finally. Back from the break, Zayn and his documentary crew are there again. Nakamura in the hallway. Zayn thinks it's strange that all these Raw guys have been allowed to appear. Zayn brings up all the ways he's helped Nakamura. Now he needs Nakamura to help him win the Intercontinental title from Big E. Zayn asks Nakamura to watch his back, and Nakamura tells him off. I mean, Zayn's character is just so... It's an old school whiny heel, which is great, except this is years too late. The problem with WWE is that they take years to push somebody, and by the time they try, the average fan if they've been around any length of time, you might get over some of the talent they're trying to push now with new fans of a year or less. But if anyone's been a fan for more than 3 years, watching guys and ladies get squashed, it kills your interest in their push because you don't believe in it anymore. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns do an interview segment. Um, this is probably the best thing on the show, honestly, other than, well, the Daniel Bryan match is good. Anyway, so, um, they're in two separate rooms for the interview. Owens notes he's beaten Reigns uh, quite a few times, but he says that his family's always helping him now. He says that Owens, Paul Heyman demands that there be respect given. Owens warns Reigns to be careful. Reigns asks if his father's a smart man, and Owens says, "Of course he is." And and Reigns, he says, if Reigns is smart, he better be careful. Reigns' father is smart and shouldn't have Reigns basically says if his father was smart, he should have raised Owens better. Reigns notes Owens could only blame his family for his issues, and he says that Owens is a fool, which means his father is a fool and his grandfather is too. Going after the family. I mean, if they don't pay this off with a win, it's going to look really bad come the Rumble. Anyway, Owens knows what Reigns is up to, and he won't fall for it again. Reigns becomes frustrated and noted Owens still doesn't understand. He said maybe he'd understand when he meets his grandfathers again, implying that he's going to murder the fellow. Owens makes fun of Reigns, and he says he's trying to be a cool mafia boss, but Reigns is just a bully. And Owens looks in the mirror. He sees someone's mother, father, father, grandfather, and people he can be proud of. Owens becomes upset. He's going to leave. And then they preview McIntyre and Goldberg for the Rumble. AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan's up next. This was decent. Match was fine until the finish, and obviously they're setting up a 6-man the whole time, but it turns into a 10-man tag match in the end, which ultimately includes the return of Braun Strowman, but we'll get there in a minute. Styles comes out with Almost. He sends him to the back. Cesaro joined Cole and Graves on commentary. Bryan has an early advantage and goes after the arm of Styles. And then Styles has him in the corner, briefly taking over. Styles gets hit with a hard kick for a near fall, and he starts to climb to the top rope, and Zayn's music hit. Zayn comes down to ringside, documentary crew in tow. And then Styles knocks Bryan out of the ring, sends him into the steps. We go to break. We come back. Styles is in control, but he misses a splash. Zayn's at ringside, pretending to care. Bryan takes over, hits a running dropkick in the corner. Styles goes after Bryan's leg and regains control. Follows up with a calf crusher, but there's a rope break there. Styles attempts the phenomenal forearm, and then Bryan gets the label lock, and then he gets to the break, and then we hear Big E's music. He comes to ringside. He nails Zayn with a clothesline and throws him into Cesaro. Cesaro and Big E argue and end up going nuts after each other. Bryan sends Styles to the floor, hits a dive. Zayn jumps in, attacks Bryan for the DQ. Then they go into a Shimaj brawl. Nakamura's music hit. He goes into the brawl, and Nakamura and Cesaro face off in the middle of the ring. Zayn jumps Nakamura, and then faces clear the heels. So we've got Daniel Bryan, Big E, Nakamura versus AJ, Zayn, and Cesaro. Not a fan of this really at all. Anyway, so we go to another break. We come back. 6-man tag is in progress. Sonya Deville makes the match. Faces go after Zayn. They cut him off. Get a couple near falls. He hit a couple chop blocks and hip tosses. And Styles slams Bryan's leg against the ring post several times. And then Cesaro gives Bryan big swing into a half crab. Heels cut him off from the corner and basically isolate him from the ring. Zayn attempts a superplex, but Bryan pushes him off. hits a missile drop kick. Big E hits a hot tag, goes nuts. He catches Cesaro with a belly to back suplex. Cesaro recovers and hits a springboard uppercut, and then Big E hits the Uranagi on Cesaro and takes a cover, and ultimately gets control. Miz and Morrison music hit. They come out to the ring. They attack for a DQ. Otis runs down for the save. He attacks Morrison and Miz. We're doing this feud all these months later. And then we go into the 10-man tag. So we got Daniel Bryan, Big E, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Otis versus AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and The Miz, and Morrison. During commercial break, DeVille changes the six-man into a 5-on-4. Cole's confused by why this is allowed. He thought it was a 10-man match. And Cole notes that Styles and AJ have been out there for 30 minutes, which is sad because it's a match nobody will remember. Anyway, the heels are in control and isolate Bryan on their side of the ring for quite a while. Zayn hits a Blue Thunder Bomb for near fall. And then Styles and Bryan go head-to-head in the middle of the ring. Heels attack. Faces on the apron. Bryan has nobody to tag at this point. Sheamus runs down and joins the match. So then we rechristen the match. Daniel Bryan, Big E, Shinsuke Nakamura, Otis, and Sheamus defeating AJ Styles. Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Miz, and Morrison. Why this couldn't have been made as a match to begin with and they didn't need to add to it, I think it's ultimately they don't know what to do to fill the TV time, so they just put schmoz after schmoz out there. But anyway, there's just a couple minutes left in the show. Everyone hits a big move. Zayn sets up the haluva kick on Sheamus. Sheamus hits a brogue kick for the win. Post-match, heels go after Sheamus and beat him down. Braun Strowman's music hit. He attacks the heels. Miz and Morrison get away, and they run away. Cole and Graves says that somehow this means Strowman's declaring for the Royal Rumble. Please, no. I don't want to see... First of all, I don't want to see anyone and Strowman. The Strowman character to me is played out, but the idea, if he were to win the Rumble, I think that's a step backwards for the whole company. Strowman hits a running power slam on Cesaro, poses in the ring, and ultimately that closes the Royal Rumble Go Home show. This was abysmally bad in the I guess the multi-person tag. Up to that point, the show wasn't too bad. There's at least salvageable things in it, but other than that, yike. Anyway, till next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.